Okay, thanks everybody. Good morning. I'm Benson Medina, the district trainer. We're happy to have you guys all here today on a Saturday morning to talk about our foundation. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to our past district governors, Del Green and Roz Cooper. Take it away, Del.
Thank you, Benson. I'd also like to acknowledge our district governor, Sandy Matsui, who is in the house. Thank you, Sandy, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, everyone. Aloha.
And now, before we get into this morning's program, I'd like to ask all of us to take a moment of silence, if you don't mind, today being the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Okay, thank you very much for indulging us. Today, we talk about the foundation. Foundation 101, and this presentation really is about you. So we begin with thanking you, and at the end of today's presentation, we will thank you again. For today's presentation, this is our basic agenda. We'll start out with the mission, talk about the history, purpose of the foundation, some of its programs, funding, recognitions, and then peace centers, alumni, and then end up with some Q&A. So with respect to the mission statement for the Rotary Foundation, the foundation was created to enable Rotarians to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through the improvement of health, the support of education, and the alleviation of poverty. And one of the things I think is most significant is that the mission is about you, the Rotarian, because the whole purpose of the foundation is to enable you, the Rotarian, to do these things. So let's take a step back in time, back to the very beginning. In the very beginning, there was no foundation until 1917, when outgoing Rotary International president, Arch Klump, came up with the idea of an endowment fund for the purpose of doing good in the world. It was the Rotary Club of Kansas City that in 1917 answered that call with the very first contribution to the foundation in the amount of $26.50. Today, the foundation is organized as a public charity, operated exclusively for charitable purposes and governed by a board of trustees with its headquarters in Evanston, Illinois. The foundation is a membership benefit that allows you and me to finance projects that we select here in Hawaii and around the world. The projects done here locally are funded through what we call district grants. And the projects that we do around the world are funded through what we call global grants. If you want to think for just a moment about the kinds of benefits that you receive as an employee, what is perhaps one of the most important benefits aside from the paycheck you get every week? For a lot of us, it's our 401k plan. The foundation as a benefit to us as members is not unlike your 401k benefit that you receive from your employer. Now, the trick with your 401k is that it's up to you and me, for example, to put money into that 401k, right? Your employer is providing you and me with this benefit opportunity. But at the end of the day, it's really up to us to invest in ourselves and for our future. This is very similar to our membership benefit with the Rotary Foundation. It's up to us to invest in the future of the work that we want to do in the world. That $26.50 contribution in 1917 is now $5.4 billion, working hard for you and me to be able to do the projects that we do, not only here, but around the world. Monies that have allowed us to do 490 district grants at the tune of $33.6 million, or 399 disaster response grants to the tune of $8.46 million. And global grants, 1,350 global grants totaling $95.6 million through our foundation. Now, when we do these things, you'll hear sometimes talk about the action plan, Rotary's action plan through 2024. But as we do these things through the lens of our action plan, which has 4 different elements. The first being increasing our impact. Examples of increasing our impact through the foundation might be, for example, eradicating polio and leveraging the legacy focus or grant programs or offerings, or improving our ability to achieve and measure grant project impact. When it comes to expanding our reach, it might be growing member participation in grant projects and building awareness through our grant projects. When it comes to enhancing participant engagement, examples of that might be providing leadership development skills and training through our grant projects. And lastly, increasing our ability to adapt will be building a culture of research, innovation, and willingness to take risks. And it's through this lens, we improve lives through service projects, community outreach, and personal and professional growth. You'll also hear about the areas of focus. We have now 7 areas of focus, and when we do our projects, they have to meet at least one of these, such as peace building and conflict resolution, disease prevention and treatment, water, sanitation and hygiene, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, community economic development, and lastly, but certainly not least, the newest area of focus, promoting the environment. Now, this is a graph that shows us where the monies are spent in these various areas of focus. Recognize that the environment's not yet on this graph because the environment did not become an area of focus officially until the beginning of this Rotary year, which is July 1, 2021. So these are the figures as of last year. So you can see where the money's being spent. And by far, it's fighting disease. 729 projects, $59.4 million spent. The purpose of this slide is to remind us that Rotary International's foundation has also achieved the Charity Navigator highest ranking of 4 because of its wonderful stewardship of its funds, where 91% of every dollar gets spent doing the good for which those monies are contributed. But in terms of here at home, what is it that we do? Why do we support the foundation? Well, we just recently submitted our district grant to Rotary International. And let me share with you just briefly some of the projects that we're doing around the district, such as the Peacemaker video contest, where Rotarians will participate in the leadership, implementation, and promotion of all activities, including judging and awarding youth exchange videos for 600 students. This is a project that's being conducted by the Rotary Club of Honolulu. Here's another one where there's a project that's being funded through our district grant, our district grant to purchase vaccines and new medical equipment for the examination room in the home medical van, which is run by the University of Hawaii Johnny Burns School of Medicine. The van was established as a mobile emergency room that conducts visits at Oahu homeless shelters. Rotarians will purchase the supplies and also participate in multiple visits. A project by the Rotary Club of Honolulu Sunset. Or here's one, Rotarians will participate in a project to create a food forest, which will be a garden for fruits and vegetables at Pearl Haven, a refuge for sex trafficked women. Club members will design, build, and plant the food forest. Funds will be used to purchase the plants, herbs, vegetables, and soil for the project. Project by the Kakako Eco Club. Or another one where Rotarians will once again work with the Good Shepherd Church in Wailuku and assist in their mission to provide food for the rapidly expanding homeless population on Maui. Club members will purchase food, water, and packaging and assist in the preparation and distribution of these things. Through this district grant, we will have $78,000, a little over $78,000 put back into our community, funds that are being financed through the Rotary Foundation. So thank you for all those clubs that have participated. And now Roz is going to go through some of the foundation programs. Roz?
Thanks, Del. Rotary has been working to eradicate polio. Our foundation programs, as we can see, are our Polio Plus, our various grant programs, district global disaster response, and of course, our Rotary Peace Centers. Next. Rotary has been working to eradicate polio for more than 35 years. Our goal of ridding the world of this disaster is closer now than ever before. We've reduced polio cases by 99.9% since our first project of vaccinating children in the Philippines in 1979. And you, Rotary members, have contributed more than $2.1 billion and countless volunteer hours to protect nearly 4 billion children in 122 countries from this paralyzing disease. Rotary's advocacy efforts have played a role in decisions by governments to contribute more than $10 billion to the effort. Today, polio remains endemic only in 2 countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan. It's crucial to continue working to keep the other countries polio free. Yeah. Video. When we talk about Polio Plus, we know we are eradicating polio, but do we realize how many added benefits the programs bring? The plus is that much needed part in eradication success. The plus is providing immunization, surveillance training, as well as outbreak response for other initiatives. That plus is providing technical experts and large-scale communication efforts to make people aware of the benefits of vaccinations and to support the volunteers who are going door to door. That plus is connecting our community members about polio strategies to improve their families' health, such as hygiene and mental health, in addition to why polio vaccination is so important. Collaboration with Rotary and UNICEF is another plus, which have produced an audio called Yes to Health, No to Polio, that's used by polio health workers. The plus is providing access to clean water to help build relationships and trust with community members. That plus provides opportunities also for creating local jobs and improving healthcare. Next. Gates Foundation 2-to-1 match at the Rotary International Convention in Atlanta in 2005. The Gates Foundation announced a 3-year, $450 million pledge to eradicate polio, matching Rotary's pledge of contributing $50 million per year for the next 3 years. The partnership has continued. Rotary and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation have since then had a long-term fundraising relationship, which generates up to $150 million annually for polio eradication. Under the agreement, Rotary is committed to raising $50 million a year over the next 3 years, and each dollar will be matched with an additional $1 by the Gates administration. Imagine, when you give $100, you are actually giving $300. In a video at the 2020 Rotary International Assembly in San Diego, Bill Gates reiterated this partnership with Rotary and said, and I quote, "The Gates Foundation's long-standing partnership with Rotary has been vital to fighting polio, and that's why we have extended our funding match. So every Rotary dollar that's raised is met with 2 more. I believe that together we can make eradication a reality," end quote. The partnership between the Gates Foundation has yielded over $2 billion, and Rotarians have given countless volunteer hours to fight polio since Rotary started in polio programs in 1985. I am asking you to be a part of this fight to end polio. Next. And have our donations matched 2-to-1 by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Next. You will find a link in the chat. Make your contributions today and let's end polio now. Other equally important foundation programs are our grants next programs. These are our district grants, our global grants, and our disaster response grants, all of which you will be hearing more about shortly. So stay in line for that. Del?
Okay, thank you, Roz. So what we've covered thus far are the reasons why we support the foundation. This is a foundation that enables us to do community service projects here through district grants, to be able to do international service projects or our global grants, to be able to participate in the event of a disaster through disaster response grants. All grant subjects will be discussed in the next session on grants and grant qualification. But how do we accomplish this? Well, this is all accomplished through contributions from people like you and me and other Rotarians, and non-Rotarians as well. Contributions that support the annual fund, contributions that support the polio fund, and contributions that support the endowment fund. This diagram is intended to basically demonstrate the funding model that we have here for Rotary International. We begin with contributions from Rotarians, be they to polio, contributions, be they to the annual fund, be they major gifts rather, or to the endowment fund. We can also make gifts directly to global grant projects. If we make a donation to Polio Plus, those monies are then used directly in the fight to end polio now. With respect to the annual fund, if we mark share, which is something we will encourage people to do when they give to the Rotary Foundation, those monies are then professionally invested at the foundation, and the principal amount of that investment, those monies then come back to the district in the form of DDF, district designated funds, or through the World Fund. In both cases, being available to us either through the DDF to be able to do district grants, some global grants, or through the World Fund to also help fund our global grants. The endowment, these are monies that they could be either outright gifts that are made in present dollars, or they could be monies that have come through a bequest, and we'll talk about that in just a bit. So the annual fund. This is another example that's intended to show you the funding model through which we support the annual fund marked share, where our monies are contributed to the foundation. Those monies are then invested for a period of 3 years. The income of that investment is used to help support the foundation's operations, and then those monies come back to the district, where those monies are available for us to spend through our district grants and global grants. The ways to give, well, we can do it very easily through Rotary Direct, which is something that we would encourage everyone to do. If you just want to make a spur of the moment contribution, which is certainly fine, you can also do that online through the Rotary.org website. Another very popular way to make contributions is to simply write a check and hand it to your club foundation chair. Or you can mail your check directly to the foundation, or maybe explore ways where you can match your gifts through corporate matching gifts. Donating online, again, very easy through myrotary.org. Go online to My Rotary. There'll be a button. It's usually, I think, in the upper right-hand corner, and just simply hit donate and follow the instructions. We would also encourage everyone to consider Rotary Direct. This is probably the simplest way to do it. If you want to become a sustaining member, which is a Rotarian who has contributed $100 a year, that's pretty easy to do. If you simply just set it up for Rotary Direct, you don't need to think about it beyond that. You have the flexibility of making a one-time gift, say of $100 or whatever amount suits you. If you'd rather do it quarterly, it's easily done through quarterly gifts of $25 a month. Or if you want, you can make a monthly gift. So for example, a lot of us who want to be Paul Harris Society members, which is $1,000, it's a simple matter of just setting up a one-time a monthly gift of, it's a little less than $100, but you could do $100 and that's a monthly gift. The minimum gifts that we can do online are $25. So whatever you want to do, as long as it's $25 or more, we certainly would encourage you to do that through Rotary Direct. This is a Rotary Direct form. This form is available through your club foundation chair, or if you want, you're more than, you can find this online at the Rotary International website, or if you have difficulty, feel free to reach out to me and I'd be more than happy to direct you to the right place. And as you can see, when you make your designation, you have the opportunity to make several choices. We would encourage you to mark Share Annual Fund for the annual fund. But we also support Polio Plus. And if we're making a gift, a recurring gift to Polio Plus, you can certainly do that on this form as well. In terms of online contributions, here too, we can do online contributions through Rotary Direct, through the Rotary International website. Just go to the website, find a box that's marked Annual Fund, check that box and just simply follow the instructions. It's that simple. Or if you want to make a gift to Polio Plus, it's basically the same process. You go to the same website, you just mark a different box, mark Polio Fund, and you're off and running. We also have the Endowment Fund. The Endowment Fund is an opportunity for us to make an endowed gift where we would contribute an amount of money, and that amount of money is then invested, and the income from that corpus would then be used to help fund projects that you decide. So this is an example of how an endowment might work. So for example, in 1996, if you were to make an initial gift of $25,000, this light blue line basically shows you, based on the rates of return that existed at those periods of time, where your money would be. And we can see that over a 20-year period of time, your $25,000 as well, it's just a little over $25,000. But importantly, as demonstrated by this dark blue line, your $25,000 investment has spun off $29,000 of income that would be used to fund projects that you would be able to do either here locally or around the world. And at the end of the day, you still have your initial investment still sitting there, still generating income, still financing projects that you and your club members decide to conduct. One of the initiatives that Rotary International is currently involved in is 2025 by 2025, where they're seeking to build a fund to $2.25 million, $2.025 billion, which is basically 2025 by the year 2025. How do we make contributions? Well, there are a lot of different ways we can do it. We can do charitable annuities. We can do it through our retirement accounts. We can do that through donor advised funds. We can do that simply through our wills. How do we notify Rotary? Well, we have this nice form called the Rotary Legacy that we can fill out. And on this form, we would encourage you to mark share when you make your endowed gift to Rotary International. If you need help filling out this form, feel free to reach out to your foundation club chair, or you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to our major gifts and endowment chair, Win Shoneman. And now to run us through recognitions, Roz Cooper.
Rotary established its recognition program in 1957 to encourage and show appreciation for substantial contributions to what was the foundation's only program, the Rotary Foundation Fellowship for Advanced Studies, are the precursor to the ambassadorial scholarships. Individual recognition programs are, we have sustaining members, and those are people who contribute $100 a year or more, $100 or more a year to the annual fund. Paul Harris Fellows, $1,000 to Rotary Foundation, and that can be done over time. Paul Harris Society member, $1,000 or more to the Rotary Foundation every year to become a member of that society. The White Hat Society, $5,000 to the Rotary Foundation. Mind you, these funds do come back to the district in 3 years as district designated funds. Major donor cumulative donations to the Rotary Foundation of $10,000 or more. Benefactors are those who contribute $1,000 or more in their estate plan. Bequest Society, $10,000 or more. Arch Clump Society, $250,000 or more contributed to the Rotary Foundation, cumulative. And of course, we have our Triple Crown. And those programs are major donor. If you're a major donor, a Paul Harris Society member, and a Bequest Society member, you are recognized as a Triple Crown donor. Naming opportunities are through our endowment opportunities, special opportunities that create an endowment or make a directed gift in your name or the name of a loved one. Endowed gifts are invested in perpetuity, with part of the earnings spent on a designated program. Directed gifts are spent in the entirety, usually in the following Rotary year. Club recognitions. Clubs who demonstrate, Del, can you advance, please? These are the name and opportunities that we have. Next slide. Clubs who demonstrate outstanding levels of support for our foundation are awarded a variety of special program banners of 100% Parkhurst Fellows, 100% sustaining member, that's $100 a year by every member of your club. These are various recognition programs that your club will be presented when you reach this goal. Foundation giving incentives. This is a special program underwritten by two of our own Rotarians, Doug Adams of the Rotary Club of South Hilo and Dick May of the Rotary Club of Kapolei. You will be hearing lots more on this later through your club and your foundation chairs. And then, of course, we have our Rotary Peace Centers. Rotary's premier educational program and a top priority for achieving the foundation mission of world understanding and peace. Up to 100 Rotary Peace Fellows are selected annually for this master's degree program in international relations, peace studies, conflict resolution, and related subjects for a 3-month professional certificate program. There are 5 centers that offers a master's degree in discipline related to peace and development. A joint program at Duke University and the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, International Christian University in Japan, University of Bradford, England, University of Queensland in Australia, Uppsala University in Sweden. There are 2 centers at Chulalongkorn University in Thailand, and the University in Uganda offers a professional development certificate in peace and conflict resolution. This is our newest of our peace centers. This year-long program blends out online learning, classroom studies, and a social change initiative. Rotary Peace Center alumni. This program has over 1,100 alumni in more than 100 countries around the world. These individuals have experienced Rotary Next through various programs. Next slide. And these programs are listed on the next slide. Let's invite these alumni to our club, our district service projects. Invite them to join you, your Rotary Club, or your Rotary Club. Ask them to participate in an alumni association. Invite them to assist in participation selections and orientations, and encourage them to contribute to the Rotary Foundation. Let's not lose sight of our alumni. They can be valuable resources. They are valuable resources to our clubs, to our community, and to the world. Rotary has invested lots into their education and their training. So let's involve them in what we do as Rotarians. Dale?
Okay, so what's up next? Well, what's up next immediately after this presentation is our grant qualification session. So please stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be starting that in just a moment. But after that, we have our Foundation 201 session, which is coming up on the 25th. The purpose of that particular session is to take a deeper dive in the foundation topics. Today's presentation was Foundation 101. It's the basics. It's a very kind of brief overview of the various topics that the foundation covers. After Foundation 201, we have Polio Plus coming up on October 9, 2021, followed by World Polio Day on October 24th, 2021. Our very own Roz Cooper, past district governor, is in charge of that particular program. And I understand from her that we have a very special guest lined up to be with us on World Polio Day. So hopefully everyone is able to attend that. And then after that, we have Foundation Month. The whole month in November is Foundation Month, Rotary International Foundation Month. And so we hope that in all of your clubs, you will engage in projects and invite speakers and what have you, to recognize the foundation and all the good work that the foundation does within your club and our community. So we're going to end with a quote from Arch Klump that we should not live for ourselves alone, but for the joy in doing good for others. And so we want to thank you for your time and for your commitment to doing good in the world, and now open it up to questions. And I will
Hey,
stop sharing.
yeah, so we've got a bunch of questions in the chat, and we can kind of roll through those. If you'd like to actually ask your a question to either Del or Roz, if you go down at the bottom of your screen under reactions there, you can actually raise your digital or your Zoom hand, and it'll actually put you at the top of the screen, and you can ask your questions. Okay, so let's go back. And Mark, thanks a lot for Mark's been handling some of the questions as they've been posted on Zoom. So here's a question from PRMG Zoom, whoever that is. So when we donate to the foundation, do we need to note for Polio Plus or Polio Fund, or a percentage of our donation put towards polio eradication? Based on your chart, seems like we need to always write Polio Plus if we want money to go direct to polio.
And I'll go ahead and respond to that. The answer is yes. When you make your contribution, you're making it to a specific fund. So it's really a simple matter of taking your contribution and just, rather than just sending one check, just write 2 checks if you don't mind, or do it online, which is pretty simple. The simplest thing, of course, would also to be signed up for Rotary Direct. I think a lot of us do that. So we'll just have a little bit of money taken out over whatever period of time works best for us. But thank you for that question.
Okay. Mark answered this question, but let's put it out there so everybody can hear it. Lee Brash asked a polio question. With so many Afghanistan refugees, will this possibly spread polio or bring polio back to countries where it was eradicated?
And I can answer that. With what the efforts that Rotary International and the Gates Foundations are making with making sure that we eradicate polio in Afghanistan and Pakistan, they have pretty much a good program in place that's going to do that. Now, the thing that bothers me the most is the influx of people coming to the mainland to make sure that they have been eradicated against polio and that they're not bringing it to here. But there are polio vaccine immunization days going on now, and almost every day in Pakistan and Afghanistan. And it's handled a lot through the Pakistanians or the people in Afghanistan. So the program is going on. And as far as it spreading more because of this COVID, there's a possibility. But I think Rotary is ready to go and to answer that possibility, to making sure that we are getting rid of that virus through one of the basic pluses in polio is that of surveillance, to make sure that the waters, the areas, the surroundings are free of that polio virus.
Yeah. So great answer, Ross. Thank you. So Adrian King asked the follow-up question. So how long is estimated to say it's cured, or does polio require surveillance even after Afghanistan and Pakistan is declared free? I know 3 years clear, but even then it will forever need monitoring at some levels. Is that correct?
That is correct, and we are taking care of that with the surveillances that we have in place. We inoculate the children for 3 years, and then what we have is a mop-up campaign where Rotarians, our field workers, go out and to continue to inoculate the children in the area. If we can make sure that virus is totally dead, totally gone, then there is a good chance it is not going to be infectious.
Yeah. Thanks, Roz. Karen Chang Bar just put a comment in there. Good to have forms, but higher chance of getting lost. Online is the easiest, and if website payment portal is secure, then that's the best way. I see Del Green nodding his head, so yes, he concurs. So Patty Bray asked, the online donations have a place to say where we want our funds designated. So I guess yes is the answer to that. Yeah, there is a place. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And what we did try to do was to help you by showing you at least two different funds that we would encourage you to consider. One being the annual fund, Mark Share, and of course, Polio fund as well.
Yeah. Okay, just a comment from Larry Sussman. Agrees with Karen. Better to have a payment portal that is free of charges or fees using your checking account or savings account. That way it is ease of use for younger and tech savvy Rotarians. Make sure you mention that in your clubs. I see Naomi has her hand up. Go ahead, Naomi.
Roz, that question about polio being eradicated, we have a plan, right, for a 4-year plan, and we still need to immunize 400 million children a year in 60 countries. So isn't it really important for people to give now because we really want to end polio in the world?
Yes,
So
and that is our mop-up campaign. And yes, it is just important. It's equally important that we continue to make the contributions to end polio now, so that we can ensure that 4 years, 6 years, 8 years down the road, that we have no cases of the virus. So yes, we do have to be vigilant and continue contributing, as well as continue to go on our immunization adventures when we're offered the opportunities. Now, for World Polio Day, we are going to have someone from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, whose area of concentration for polio eradication is Afghanistan and Pakistan. And he will be talking to us on what's being done by the foundation and by Rotary Foundation and the Gates Foundation in making sure that we are taking care of everything, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and eradicating polio. So it's going to be a good program. I ask you to put October 24th or 23rd on your calendar, and let's come out and listen to the program. We're going to hear also from a polio survivor talking about his experience and what he went through from birth to where he is now in his life.
Okay, great. Thanks, Roz. Thank you, Naomi. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Benson. Dave Mosdren has asked us to just say a little bit more about marking share. If you're contributing to the annual fund, when you look at that, it gives you a list, and you can choose things like water and sanitation and maternal health and all of the to focus, and that sounds wonderful, and that's what people want to do. But if you don't mark annual fund share, then the money that you're donating, which is still good, it all goes to the World Fund, which is used as the match for our global grants. But if you do the annual fund and mark share, then half of it comes back to the district for us to decide how we want to use in our own community. So that is important, even though the other ones are also important. Half of our money will still go to the World Fund, but if you don't mark share, all of it will go to the World Fund.
Very cool. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Always really good to have experts on the call. Okay, so let's continue to scroll down through there. Just a quick comment from Nathan, because Nathan's on top of this. He just mentions if you go to My Rotary, you can choose where you want your contributions to go. Thanks, Nathan. And then Larry, I see you got your hand up. You have a question in the chat.
I just have a comment that my mom was a Rotarian for most of her life. She was also a polio survivor and had post-polio as an adult. And this was one of her biggest pushes, was as a Rotarian to end polio worldwide. And this is just a fantastic presentation. I really enjoyed the information that was shared. And thank you very much for this morning.
Great. Great. Thanks a lot, Larry. Appreciate it. Dave Erdman had a question. Do you need to write share if you write a check? So
Yes.
do you guys want to handle that one?
Yeah, when you submit your check, you would submit it with the form. Just make sure you check the correct box on the form.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And when in doubt, write share. It doesn't hurt.
Okay, great. All right. Well, that's the extent of the questions that were in the chat. Does anybody else have any other questions they'd like to ask at this point? We've got a few minutes before we end this part of the session. Or or any of the other of our district people, Laura, Mark, Dave Mosrin, any of you would like to add any additional information or thoughts about the presentation today? Okay. Wow. All
Well, I
right.
will point out that we will have another opportunity coming up too at Foundation 201. So we do want to remind people that that's coming up and to encourage them to turn out for that. We're hoping to have a deeper dive. And so when you come to that particular session, if you have particular interest in maybe the endowment fund, the annual fund, peace centers, alumni, what have you, what we're hoping to do is to provide breakouts as part of that particular offering. So you'll have an opportunity to meet one-on-one with individual subject matter experts too. And so if you feel more comfortable presenting those questions at that particular time, that would be your opportunity to do so.
Okay, great, Del. Thanks. So the 10 o'clock session, we'll kick it off at 10 because there's some people that are going to join us right at 10. And that's going to be presented by Mark Harbison and his team. So Mark and any of your team, I know you're there, Laura's there, Dave Hamill, I see on the call. A bunch of your guys are here. So is there anything that you would like to add now that's relevant to the session that Del and Roz just did? Just sort of as an add-on or emphasis, without taking away your thunder for the next session, which starts in a few minutes. Go ahead, Mark. Mark, you gotta unmute and you can.
Right, thank you. I just, that was an awesome presentation. Probably the best one I've ever heard on as an introduction to the foundation. So compliments to Del and Ross for that great presentation. The next session is a little more technical and is a really deep dive into grants and qualification for grants and that kind of thing. But so it'll be a little bit more technical, a little more time consuming and challenging. But please.
Wait, no, Mark, don't get rid of our audience. Come on.
Oh, no. I just
Informational. Love it.
expressing appreciation for the broad sweep we just got.
And I would like to, if I may, jump in right here along with Del, and thank you guys all for being here this morning, giving your Saturday morning up and joining us to learn a little bit more about the foundation and how we are making a difference. And also to encourage you to stay around for the next session because there is no one better than Mark Harbison to answer those grant questions. And he's here and he's ready for you. And when you leave, I guarantee that you're going to be so much smarter on grants.
You will.
We just got a question that I'd like to respond to in the chat. The question is from Kimo, who, I'm sorry, it's actually from Joy, says, do you need to sign up for annual monthly donation every year, or does your commitment carry over? That's a really good question because if you were wondering, the answer is you don't have to re-sign. It is a recurring gift, and that's why we kind of encourage people to do Rotary Direct. So that way, at least for myself, it's just one less thing I need to worry about on an ongoing basis. And so every month, whatever amount I select gets taken from my credit card. I get the miles and all that good stuff, which is nice too. But the more important thing is that it's a recurring gift. I don't need to renew it every year. It's automatically renewed until I decide I want to end it, which you also have the flexibility to do. So by all means, consider Rotary Direct. It is a recurring gift. Thank you.
Hey, I'd like to add something.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Go ahead, Adrian and Dave.
I'm on a bus in Las Vegas. I'm going to a seminar, but the one thing about automatic is that you don't think about it. And you give it up for Starbucks or this or that or the other, and you don't even notice. It's not, you don't realize it. And then all of a sudden you say, wow, look at how much I've helped and contributed. So it certainly takes the thinking out of it. So the way to go. Anyway, I'll go back on mute.
Okay, Dave, it's you. And then,
Yeah.
and then Dick May.
Right along with what Adrian is saying, we talk about the goals of the foundation, and we talk about every Rotarian every year. And I know that you folks have talked about that, but that also is a great goal to set for your club, is to get every member of your club to give something to the Rotary Foundation. So you know that it's 100% participation from all of your members, so that every Rotarian every year has that mindset that it isn't one person's job or the whales within your club that give that large dollar amount, but it could be just that $25 that every member gives every single year that really makes a difference for your club, because then you've got 100% participation, and there isn't anybody that you have to sit and down with and say, hey, where's your money? They all know it's everybody's goal and everybody's obligation to do this. And it's not a painful one. And that's why Rotary Direct is so wonderful in that area also. It makes it painless. Thank you very much.
Painless is good. Okay, Dick May, go for it.
Well, to the good words that Dave Mostrin just added, amen. The one thought I'd like to leave you with, and we'll hear more about it as we work through the year and go into Foundation 201. Think about where you spend your money, sometimes little bits, a check here or there, a little bit in a credit card here or there for various causes. Think about what you get in your mailbox sometimes in return. Yesterday was eye-opening for me. I got 6 envelopes, one of them very thick and weighing over a pound, with all kinds of stuff, calendars, return address envelopes, everything else. All of that stuff costs the charities money. They pay companies to promote it, to promote the charities. So for your $20 or $30, maybe $10 of it goes toward marketing. With Rotary, that doesn't happen. You've already seen how we're rated with Charity Navigator. You've seen that with the areas of focus we have now, including the environment, you can find yourself in your giving in Rotary. You can find your passions. And if you check share, you can find those passions in the grants we do at district as well as world level. So consider shifting a share of your total giving, however small or large the amounts may be, to Rotary, because your dollars go a lot further. Mahalo.
Thanks a lot, Dick May. And so I want to just close this session out. We're going to take about a 3 or 4 minute break, and then Naomi will get us started for the next session. But I have a member in my club, Rotary Club of South Elo. Has been a member for about 12 or 13 years. When he started as a Rotarian, he did the direct share thing, just put a little bit of amount on his credit card. And this year, the guy's going to hit major donor status. And it took him a long time. And actually, when I told him about it, he didn't even know it. He had no idea. He said, "I have no idea. I don't even look at the statement, but the X amount of money has been coming out every month." And this year's going to go over $10,000 donated. So it just, it's like compound interest, right? It's a little bit over a long period of time, and it's just really, really impactful. Okay, I want to mention one more thing. Sonia wanted to make sure that we didn't forget that if you haven't joined and become a part of Hawaii's Polio Plus Society, which is a commitment of $100 a year, you get to be a member of that. I'm a member of that. And that's only $8.33 a month. A couple trips to Starbucks, actually one for me, and that would pretty much do it. So thank you, Sonia, for keying us up on that. Okay, we got a couple of minutes break. So those of you, so you saw Del Green stand up, right? If you stood up far enough, you could have seen his shorts. So don't be dissuaded by that nice coat that he's got on. Just like us, he's still got his pajama pants on. So, okay, let's take a little break. We're going to come back at 10 o'clock. PDG Naomi is going to get us rocking and rolling. So good to have everybody in here. I tell you what, we have 89 people on the call today, 89. And so we expanded it just yesterday so we can get up to 500 people on the call today. So call up your friends, family, anybody that wants to see you on the internet. This is going to be your chance right now. So we'll be back in about 4 minutes. Thanks, everybody.